It wasn't on my radar. I was going to school. I have 4 young kids, and I was determined to be a veterinarian. I finished my bachelor's in animal biology, but I did not apply to vet school. And I was like not a little, but a lot sad about that because it's like when you're really focused on something and then now what? Just a month or so after that, I was talking to somebody and she said, I've seen all these dog walkers out here. You could still work with animals. This was about pre-internet-ish. MySpace was a thing type of deal. I found Patty Moran's book on pet sitting for profit. I read it. I built a one-page website, got my LLC, and put an ad in the paper. And I was in business, really didn't have a plan to stay in business this long. And I tried other things. I just kept coming back to it. Just for staffing for dogs is a lot more challenging. We've got super early mornings and then late night visits are really hard to staff. And I did that on my own for 15 years and it's just exhausting. No days off, that type of thing. Clients would always say, they had to go to a funeral or something very difficult. They hadn't been on a vacation in decades because they didn't have anyone to leave their animals with. So I really felt like by getting to do what I love, which is care about the animals. So it's become, as you could probably tell, a huge passion of mine. I mean, I went probably a decade with maybe 2 reviews, and one of them was just stars and no content.
Welcome back to the Built Local podcast. Today we have a special guest coming from Ocala, Florida. We have Shannon. She is in the pet sitting industry and has her own pet sitting business, and I've been really excited to have her on. So for anybody who doesn't know you, Shannon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, hi Clay. Thanks for having me on. So my name's Shannon and I have pet sitting business in Ocala. I'm a professional pet sitter, which a lot of people aren't that familiar with, but it means I have certifications in pet sitting, pet behavior, and insurance, a legit business type of deal, not just your friend popping in. Training, all of that. And I have been in business for just about 20 years, celebrating here soon. I've grown it from being a solo pet sitter to having a small team that works for me. And it's wonderful. I am now cat specialist, so I am the only cat-only business in town. So that's helped me really niche down my client base. And one of the reasons why I contacted you to kind of work on that SEO for me with the cat specialization.
Yeah.
And I am also the vice president of the Florida Pet Services Association, which is a volunteer organization for pet business owners here in Florida. And we have our conference coming up in just a couple weeks. So excited. I'm very involved in lots of things in the pet world.
Yeah, that's awesome. So walk us through a little bit more about the specialization in cats only and kind of niching down just to focus on cats. Was that a quality of life and business standpoint where you didn't want to deal with dogs? Was it a financial decision? I think you make more money. Like walk us through that decision-making process and why you.
Yeah, sure. It all happened around 2020. A lot of us had to, like we say, pivot our business model and kind of saw like, if I'm going to continue this and, get it rolling again, what do I really want to do? So personally, I'm getting a little older and dogs are wonderful. I'm a dog person. I like to say I'm a dog person, but I own a cat business and I love my cat business.
Yeah.
So just for staffing for dogs is a lot more challenging. We've got super early mornings and then late night visits are really hard to staff. And I did that on my own for 15 years and it's just exhausting. No days off, that type of thing. And it was a hard decision for me to go that way because I do love dogs so much. But I just found over the years that I was really loving learning cat behavior and I was getting a lot of feedback from clients of how much they loved me and my staff as a cat sitter. So I saw the opportunity there to just kind of like drill down into that and become the specialist. And I also network in town. So I had grown a large network and I felt good referring out the dog clients to reputable people. So
Yeah.
that way I was able to do it. And it's
Gotcha.
been wonderful, actually.
Yeah, yeah, that is
Mm.
awesome. I mean, whew, I mean, we know that, like you said, early mornings and late nights. Dogs need to be out every couple hours. Cats are a little bit different. um,
Yeah.
but can you kind of walk us through how you got into pet sitting originally? So 20 years ago, what got you into doing that? And then what was kind of the aha moment where you were like, oh, this could be a legit business?
Yeah, so I it wasn't on my radar. I was going to school. I have four young kids, and I was determined to be a veterinarian. And I was in, pre-med for vet school, and just a lot of things happening at the time with my kids becoming teenagers and some health concerns. And so I decided not to. I finished my bachelor's in animal biology, but I did not apply to vet school. And I
Hmm.
was like a little, not a little, but a lot sad about that because it's like when you're really focused on something and then now what?
Yeah.
And just a month or so after that, I was talking to somebody and she said, I've seen all these dog walkers out here. You could still work with animals.
Yeah.
And I literally ran to the library. This was about pre-internet-ish,
Yeah.
MySpace was a thing type of deal. And I found Patty Moran's book on pet sitting for profit. She was the first pioneer of our business,
Yeah.
and she wrote about it and how to make it yourself a professional. I
Yeah.
read it. I built a one-page website that weekend, got my LLC, and put an ad in the paper. So
Wow.
funny. And I was in business. Like I did not expect to really didn't have a plan to stay in business this
Mhm.
long,
Yeah.
and I tried other things. I just kept coming back to it.
Yeah.
So it was probably about 10 years in where I was like, okay, I am all in. It's in my blood. A lot of us pet sitters like to say, like, it's a difficult industry to be in physically, emotionally, all of it. It's a lot harder than the general public realizes,
Yeah.
especially long term. So you really have to be very passionate about the business and the animals. And what I realized was, as much as I love the animals, I really love helping people. And clients would always say, they had to go to a funeral or something very difficult, or they hadn't been on a vacation in decades because they didn't have anyone to leave their animals with. So I really felt like I was helping people by getting to do what I love, which is care about the animals. So
Yeah.
it's become, as you could probably tell, a huge passion of mine.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that's something a lot of people probably don't know about me is that I started pet sitting. I wasn't a professional pet sitter, all right? I was just the neighbor down the street, right?
Right.
I started pet sitting in middle school, and I mean, I still do it all the time because I've got good friends that clients that become friends or family friends who like have mentioned to me that when we go on vacation and Clay's staying there, we're not worried about our animals. And because I would normally stay over at their
Yeah.
house and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, when you're there, we don't have to worry about our animals, our house, the mail, or anything. So we can actually go and enjoy our vacation. So it really is such a service to the homeowners and the owners of the
Yeah.
pets as well.
Yeah.
And so when you go back, 10 years ago or 20 years ago and you did the website and you placed an ad in the paper, do you remember how quickly things kind of started to take off, or do you like kind of started to roll, or do you remember, maybe where you started getting your first couple customers?
Yeah, at first it was pretty slow. The first, maybe 10 were from that little newspaper ad. And back then I didn't have like a Google business. I might have, yeah, but I had a different name. It was Shannon's Pet Sitting. And I
Mhm.
did set that up. And I met a few other pet sitters in town, kind of, but none of them were on Google. And
Mhm.
so, because I had turned one of my MySpaces into a pet sitting, that has really ramped up my SEO. And even to this day, I can't get into that MySpace anymore. But apparently, it's still in the Ethernet world and
Oh,
it
ranking?
helps my ranking. So I've always since then been kind of the number one ranking on Google, thankfully,
Yeah.
because I got myself in there real fast.
Awesome.
So, there's a lot of word of mouth, but I've always gotten the most, contacts from my Google,
Awesome.
which can be scary or great at the same time.
Yeah. 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 No, for sure. For sure. Well, and when it comes to, when you're starting it, you were growing it, and then you made the decision, okay, I need help. You kind of have a small team. I mean, was there a certain number of customers you had to get to hire a couple people to help you
Mhm.
out? Was it more of like a quality of life thing? Where like, hey, I don't want to do this all the time. What was that decision like when you hired your first, one or two employees to start helping you out?
Yeah, so for me, I had a major health crisis 8 years ago, and I was very sick for a year, and I had a lung surgery, and I had part of a lung removed, and I had a long recovery. And so for like a year and a half, my daughter helped me. She was a young adult then, and but then as soon as I was able to like recover, maybe pet sit a little more and drive again,
Mhm.
she's moved. So I realized through that year of working every day and being like deathly ill, literally, my husband had to drive me because I was so sick I couldn't drive. But I would never ever miss a visit and never not take care of the pet. The animals don't care if you're sick. I realized that if I wanted to continue this, it was like all or nothing. I was either going to have help, have some kind of networking help, or I was going to go to a 9 to 5. And so I just started trying out having some help. And the relief I felt was just so immense that it wasn't all on me anymore. So I just started taking courses on business and hiring and employees. And I haven't looked back since. There's challenges with that, but the benefits I get are much better. And a few years later, my husband had a health crisis. So it kind of was wonderful because I already had that team in place and I was able to deal with, to step away for short amounts of periods of time. And
Yeah.
now I can take actual little vacations and stuff, which is
Yeah.
amazing as a
That's
small business owner.
Well, that's awesome to hear that you're able to hire some people and start taking some of the stress off yourself.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you wish people knew about the pet sitting industry?
Wow, that's a big one. Just that there is a professional option out there. A lot of people don't realize that. And if you do a little research into professional pet sitters or go to petsit.com, which is the PSI Professional Pet Sitters International. There's lots of resources and information on there for people to learn what it's all about.
Mm,
And basically, we are as a professional, we're reliable, we're accountable.
yeah.
We're not going to cancel on you the day before your trip, and we're going to show up. Most professionals use some kind of software that tracks GPS. Like we don't, I've heard horror stories, people just not showing up, or, you've paid them for 30 minutes or whatever, and they're 5 minutes,
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah,
know, and even though they see you have a ring camera or what have you, people still do that kind of stuff. So professionals just have a high standards, ethics that we go by. And as a legitimate business, my Google means something. It's my reputation, right? So, like you said, you're a neighbor and you're a friend, and that's wonderful. But if you just get somebody you don't really know from, like, a Facebook group or something, and they chime in and say, I'm a pet sitter, and you're really rolling the dice,
yeah.
and what I like to say is like they might be wonderful until something happens and they're not. And a lot of times they're just not prepared for emergencies that can happen. And I have many stories on that, just random things like
Yeah.
houses being flooded and cats being stuck in the blinds and just
Oh,
random things that, if you don't have a professional that has a backup plan, then what do? Are they going to panic? Are they
yeah.
not going to tell you? Maybe let your dog run away. So if you have a
Yeah.
professional, it's pretty important.
Yeah. Do you have a horror story that you're willing to share? And this is what content's all about right here. Do you have a horror story that you're willing to share? Hopefully not too horrific, but
Yeah. So I did, like I said, it was a Thanksgiving day and I did walk in on a gigantic bathtub that was filled and overflowing. The clients had little designer towels hanging on the edge of the jacuzzi tub,
Mhm.
and the nozzles were the lever kind that go like this.
Yeah.
What it looked like was the cats got into something, ran through there, turned the nozzles on, knocked the towels in, and the towels clogged the drain. So even though they had the tub, it wasn't closed or anything, the towels clogged it. So it was overflowing. And I'm fairly sure a non professional would not have caught it because it was a bedroom that I wouldn't go in. The cats didn't hang out in there, and it was far off. And just before I was leaving, I was kind of like, what is that sound? And I almost didn't look, but something told me, like, go check
Go
on
look.
that sound. And it was way on the second floor in another, like, a master bathroom. And I was like, holy cow. I saved their house from much more damage than it could have been.
Holy moly.
And also, if you would have a non-professional that will skip days, we see this a lot with cat sitting,
Yeah.
come every other day or come every third day. And you have a situation like that, you're taking a much larger risk
Yeah.
of their health, but also your home.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. That's insane. And so with, in the situation like that, you come in, the bathtub is flooded, it's flowing. Walk me through the next couple minutes. What do you do? Do you call them, and what is that phone call like with the customer?
yeah. So, that particular time, I could not get a hold of them. Of course, it's always happens when, it's like they're on a plane or they're on a cruise and they're unreachable, or the mountains I just had a week ago.
Yeah.
Um, and so I have a professional company that I know that does water cleanup.
Mm.
And I had them come and start the process. And they bring in gigantic fans and lift carpet and get all that going,
Yeah.
because if you wait on a water situation, the mold just guts your whole house. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty serious. And over the 20 years, I've walked into 5 homes that were severely flooded just from random pipes bursting for no reason. So you got to know who to call.
Yeah, 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 no. But I can't imagine their relief when it's like, "Hey, your bathtub totally flooded. I called it, within a day or a couple hours, whatever, and
Mhm.
people here fixing it." I mean, talk about
Yeah.
there. That's awesome. That's incredible.
Yeah, you got to handle it, and be calm under pressure. And that's always been a, little superpower of mine.
Yeah,
So it works well in these kind of situations.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more. You talked about how the word of mouth is obviously great, but Google has kind of been your bread and butter. So kind of you've just been around for a while, and so you've been ranking really well. And I know we got in touch probably 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, I can see. But yeah, let's see. You started beginning of May, so about 3 months ago. And you had about 40 Google reviews at the time, right? I think. And so what were you doing to get Google reviews before
Yeah,
working really hard?
obviously not much, you know? I mean, I honestly, it wasn't consciously on my radar for probably like 10, 15 years. I was like, and I was, a lot of pet sitters, we have this problem with, like, asking for things and asking people to give us a review and feeling shy about it. So it really wasn't until I got into like some small business coaching and stuff that I finally learned to be confident and encouraged to ask. So that's really where those 35 even came from. I mean, I went probably a decade with maybe 2 reviews, and
Wow.
one of them was just stars and no content. But it was just the fact that I was around and there was, my name and my website, I guess,
Yeah.
helped. But as competition starts building, especially since 2020, I realized that, there's there's many more professionals in the space
Yeah.
as well as others. So I got to get more serious about this and asking. And the problem was I am, and so is this business, inconsistent, I like
Yeah.
to say. And
Yeah.
that's a real problem for Google.
Yeah.
I'm
100%.
inconsistent with blogging. I'm inconsistent asking. And when I would get reviews, I mean, I would get like 8 or 10 on the same day. And that's also a problem, as for Google.
Mhm.
They like to see a little over time. So I just hadn't been able to get it going like in a
Yeah.
consistent way until I met you.
Yeah. How did you find Review Harvest again? Were we connected through your friend, or how did you find out about Review Harvest?
Yeah, so because I network so heavily now and through FPSA and everything, actually the president, my friend Savannah, is the
Mhm.
one that let the little secret out about you. And I know, since I know her so well, I knew she was using someone else who was charging a lot and having zero results.
Yeah.
And we had been discussing that. And when she met you, she couldn't keep it secret. So she let me know. And
Right.
I was so happy about that, obviously. And actually, kind of shocked at the clients that I had asked many times over the years didn't do it. And then all of a sudden, you send them a text or whatever, and they're like, okay, immediately. So I don't know what it is. It's like, I guess I wasn't asking the right way. You've got it dialed in, sir.
Well, it's all we do. It'd be pretty embarrassing. All we do is get people Google reviews all day long. It'd be pretty embarrassing if we couldn't do it, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like you not be able to keep a cat, you know? It's
It's
like
true.
it's what
It's
you
true.
do all day, you know? Um,
Yeah.
no need to be surprised. But hey, you said she let the secret out. We need to we can't let Review Harvest be a secret. You got to tell everybody you know. I don't want it to be a secret. I want everybody to know about Review Harvest.
Yeah, it's like I share a lot of my business secrets and stuff. And, through networking, I give clients, and I mentor other sitters. So, it's just kind of a joke we have that, we're not competition. We don't see other pet sitters as competition at all. We love to collaborate. And really, there's enough, animals and people to go around,
Yeah,
clients to go around.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'm really happy I found you.
yeah,
And the thing is with I think small business owners like myself is we're so used to doing everything on our own, and I am capable of learning everything, but I don't have the time or knowledge to be an expert at the everything,
yeah.
so yeah, I can build a website, but should I keep doing that? I can do marketing. I can do so as I'm growing, I'm learning to give away these things. And so you're one of them, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and how many so you said you had around 35 when you started. How many reviews have you gotten now in the last 3 months?
Yeah, so we're up over, I think, 78.
Wow.
And that's just like, yeah, we doubled almost, immediately. And now every new client that comes in, they're giving a review. As soon as you send that thing, boom, review. And I'm really thrilled with it. It's steadily growing now, which is important.
Yeah.
And my ranking's staying up there as number one. So
Yep, that's right.
happy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's like you were already dominating, but now you're just kinda digging that moat, making sure Google knows you're the top dog in Ocala, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I did feel like there was a few that was kind of creeping up on me. And if I didn't do something, and I just let it go, it wouldn't happen, So yeah. And I also learned a few years ago from, Google that they like you to put pictures and update your profiles and do that kind of stuff. So I try to remember do that, but I'm not consistent on that either. So the
Uh,
reviews are helping me a lot.
yeah, yeah, awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, before we close out here, I wanted to ask, do you know about I think this would be awesome for the audience to just to see just how staying in business for a long time, like props on you for being in business 20 years. Most people can't do business for 2 months nowadays, right? They
Yeah.
start it and they're like, "Oh, this is hard." Huh. Of
Yeah.
course. It's hard. If it was
Yeah.
easy,
It's hard.
And so props on you for over 20 years. And I just want to show people how stuff adds up. Tell us about, if you have a rough idea at all, about how many animals have you kept over the last 20 years, do you think? Just an estimate.
Oh, wow. I tried to calculate it like 2 years ago, and it's in the thousands and thousands.
That's
The
crazy.
first 10 or so years, I didn't use software. I had spreadsheets,
Yep.
And when I first started, I actually had the math graph, I had
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. Okay.
So I kind of went back, it's thousands. It's in the thousands and thousands. And I've met so many people in our town through their animals, so many that I don't recognize them when I'm in the grocery store.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, Shannon," and I'm like, "Tell me your animal's name."
Yeah,
And
yeah, not your name. Tell me your animal's
what
name.
your animals look like. Where, because we meet a client once or maybe twice, but we don't see them as often.
Yeah, as
So
the
I know they're animals. Yeah.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, that is incredible. And if someone has a question about pet sitting, started their own pet sitting company, or they need pet sitting and they're near you in Ocala, where is the best place to get in contact with you?
Oh, sure. They can find me on Facebook. You can find Ocala Pet Sitting pretty much everywhere on the interwebs. You'll find me on, I mostly am on Facebook, and I have all my socials on there, and phone number, email, everything. Check out my website, ocalapetsitting.com. Yeah, dominating that name. So if you Google me, you'll find me. And I
Right.
love connecting with other people, and I love mentoring new sitters. So anybody, I welcome you to reach out to me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that is incredible, Shannon. Well, thank you so much for your time today. If y'all have any questions, feel free to comment down below on this YouTube video here. And maybe if we got enough questions, we can have Shannon back on. But thanks for hopping on today, and y'all have a great one.
Thank you.